Hi everybody, and blessed be, it's me Alex. And today I wanted to do a little video about the coming Yule season and some of the things that we encounter as Wiccans and Neo-Pagans. Yesterday when I got home, Kit had put up the tree, and of course not the ornaments, but after I got settled in and we ate dinner, we decorated the tree and put our ornaments on it and began to focus on the spiritual significance of this holiday and this season for us. And how that on the longest night of the year, it's the time that we celebrate the rebirth of the sun god, and how that after the winter solstice, the days begin to grow longer, and how that we can glean from that the idea that it's at the time of the greatest darkness that the light is really born. And we reflect on those kinds of things, and that's the source of the spirituality of this season for us, the season of light. And of course we don't force our celebrations on other people, but there was something that happened to me and I wanted to bring it up and see what everyone thought, and if anything like this has ever happened to any of you and how you deal with it. I was in the checkout at the grocery store, and I had worked all day and I had just stopped in to pick up some groceries, and I was putting my items on the conveyor belt, and this guy who was checking people out, he started talking to this customer who was ahead of me about how it's Christmas and how that we all need to be thankful for the birth of the baby Jesus. And later on in the conversation, after I started talking to him, I found out he was a Franciscan lay minister of some kind. But in the conversation with the customer ahead of me, he started pointing out also how we needed to be thankful for Mary and for her willingness to become a surrogate mother for their God's baby. But this went on and on and on. It wasn't just a brief exchange, and even if it had been, I find that incredibly inappropriate and in a space that should be secular, because there's lots of different people, myself included, who go through that checkout line, which I pointed out to him when I got up to be checked out. I told him that I thought that it was inappropriate for him as a representative of the company to stand there and to endorse one religious interpretation of this winter holiday and to force that on everyone who comes through the line. And I pointed out that not everyone who comes through the line is a Christian. And I told him that I wasn't a Christian and that I don't celebrate Christmas, and that that's not the significance of this time of year for me. At which point he got very angry and very kind of hostile about why would anyone object to him discussing the birth of the baby Jesus when that's what Christmas is all about, and that kind of thing. And then he started questioning me about what religion I practice. I didn't go into it with him. I simply pointed out that there are many holidays, and at this time of year, many religions celebrate different holidays in the depth of winter, and there's Kwanzaa, and there's Hanukkah, and there's the winter solstice, and I pointed that out. And I said, I'm not trying to make you angry. I'm merely trying to point out to you that not everyone who comes through this checkout line is a Christian, and not everyone is going to appreciate this kind of discussion, and that it's incredibly inappropriate. And he still was getting very angry, and I told him, I said, I'm not trying to make you angry. If I were trying to make you angry, I would be over there talking to your managers about this, or I'd be on my cell phone talking to your corporate headquarters about it. I'm merely trying to make you aware that this could be offensive to a lot of us, and is offensive to a lot of us who aren't Christian, and that perhaps he should just keep it to a happy holidays, an inclusive kind of wish, if he wanted to say something at the register. So he finally checked me out, and I was able to leave, and I just couldn't help but think, like, I mean, I work in retail, and can you imagine what would happen if one of us, or if I stood there at the register during the holiday season and started talking to people about neo-paganism and witchcraft and the winter solstice and how it's the rebirth of the sun god and the spiritual significance of the holiday for us as neo-pagans, and they would have me in the office, or any of us, they would have us in the back office, and we would be fired in 5 minutes and be escorted off the property. And I just think that that's just horrible, that anyone would think that it's appropriate in a secular space where people of different religions or no religion are coming through to make purchases, where someone like that would think that it's okay to push one religious holiday or one religion on everyone who comes through that checkout line. I mean, it just made me so angry, and I tried. I didn't let him have it. I didn't go off on him or like be crazy angry with him. I really just I wasn't, and I didn't want to confront anybody. I didn't want some big scene, and I just tried to make him aware that this kind of discussion can be volatile, to people, and that it can be very that it's very inappropriate. There was a similar situation at my bank too. Like a couple of weeks ago, I went in to cash a check, and the teller was having this conversation with someone behind the little bar where you slide your check across or whatever. And she was having this conversation about some problem that the other person was having in their life, and just keep praying to Jesus and he'll see you through. And I had to go through the same thing, and I told her that it was extremely inappropriate in a bank to have that kind of conversation. And I can't help but think like what would happen to any one of us if we were to have a religious conversation when we were on the clock for the companies that we work for, and how quickly we would be fired, and rightly so, because it's just not the space for that kind of thing. And further, I think that the significance of the holiday is about, for all of us, and all of the traditions I've seen, is about goodwill, and about light, and spreading light in the world. And I think that's what all religions are supposed to be. They're supposed to be points of light in the world. And I think spiritually evolved people see that there are different ways of expressing religious sentiment, and that there's always going to be people of different religions and people of different faiths or no faith. And I think spiritually evolved people accept that and honor that, and don't go on these crusade to force their religion on the rest of the world, or to force one holiday on the rest of us. And I certainly think that if Jesus, if he really was a historical figure, and if he really did teach the things that they say that he taught, I can't imagine that he would approve of his followers forcing the celebration of Christmas, which is obviously a pagan holiday that's been baptized and rechristened as Christmas. I can't imagine that he would be happy about them forcing that on the rest of the world, or it being co-opted by corporations in an attempt to create a consumer orgy in the fourth quarter to make money for these corporations. I just can't imagine that he would approve of any of that. So I feel better now that I've gotten all of that off my chest, and I wondered if any of you have ever had experiences like that during the holiday season, and how you handle it, or what you think about those kinds of things. Anyway, I am going to make more videos throughout the coming weeks and closer to the solstice. So I hope that everyone's having a great holiday season so far, and I hope none of you have experienced the kinds of things that I've experienced when you're out shopping or when you're in a secular space. And that's it. May the Mother Goddess bless us all. Blessed be.